Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino, the CEO and founder of K9s for Veterans. I'll be your host tonight. I have a really special guest tonight, Jennifer Monson. I got that right. She is running for the Senate in the what district?
43rd district.
43rd district. I want to talk to you about what's your game plan?
I think that we talk about change all the time. We hear, well, we need to change things. Well, I think we need to put things back and stop messing around, stop changing things. We need common sense legislation. We need legislators who are going to actually listen to the people. And that's one of my big things is I feel like as a citizen myself that I'm not heard. That my concerns are not important to those who are supposed to be representing me.
Right.
Those are who are supposed to be my voice in the legislature.
What is on top of your priority list? If you were elected tomorrow, what would be one of the first things you would want to get changed?
The sanctuary status of our state.
The what?
The sanctuary status of our state.
Well, that's on a whole new topic for me, I'll tell you. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that.
I feel like we need to focus on our citizens. We have so many folks that are struggling, that are out of work. I mean, I know that for me, the grocery bill has definitely gone up. When I go through the line, go get the checkout, and I see how much is in my cart, and I see how much I'm paying as opposed to what I was a couple of years ago.
Right.
It's hard.
Jen, I think that everybody's entitled to a better life. I'll be the first one to say that. But do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Okay, do it the right way. We've got, I can't even tell you how many homeless veterans that are living in the street that we're absolutely doing nothing to help them with their struggles. Nothing at all. But yet, for these immigrants that are coming across the border, and again, everybody's entitled to a better life, but come the way you're supposed to be here.
Right.
Come the right way.
Yes, and that was my point with like everything going up, prices going up, us not being able to take care of our own families. We don't have the resources to be taking care of everyone else.
Where are those tax dollars coming from?
Exactly.
From you, from
Exactly.
me, from the people.
Right.
And we don't even have a say in it. That's the part that I just can't understand. When I get a call from a veteran who's struggling, he's homeless, and he's not getting any help, any assistance, but yet we're giving housing, medical, Visa gift cards for $1,000 a month on them. We're giving them. It's just crazy. Do that. You want to do that, fine, but take care of our veterans first.
Right.
That's my only complaint that I have is that our veterans. Your husband took the oath. To serve our country, and yet they get nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing for them. And it's just a shame. I just hate to see that happen because there's so many veterans out there that are struggling today. And it's like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing for them at all.
Yeah.
How would you change that?
I feel like, well, our citizens need to be taken care of first. We need to focus on those, especially on our veterans, those who gave their time, their life, their all.
How did you change, like, let's use the city of Chicago, for an example. How do you change the city from being a sanctuary city to not being a sanctuary city? Does they do that by law? Do they ordinances? How do they do that?
Well, I think that goes to the top because Governor Pritzker has invited this to our state. He's invited this migrant crisis to our state, and that's where we need to go. And we need to say no more. You need to focus on who you were elected
to serve. Right.
And it wasn't people from all of these other different countries, and I understand their struggle, and I understand how difficult it may be where they're at. But like both of us, our families immigrated here.
Right.
And they came here the right way.
Ellis Island.
Yes, Ellis Island. They had to have a sponsor. They had to do it the right way. My grandpa barely made it here in time to see my mom born. because he had a different sponsor
Right.
than my grandma did. She came over here all by herself on the boat. But they did it the right way, and we need to reward that. We need to reward those who follow the rule of law
Right.
and who do things the right way, the way that you're supposed to do it in America.
How do we allow 8 million migrants to come into our country and we don't even know who they are?
Right.
We know nothing about, where they're going. They just come in and they just go wherever they want. What kind of control is that? They need to do something with that border. They really do, because it's bleeding all these sanctuary cities dry.
Absolutely.
And they got to get that money somewhere, and it's going to come for you or me.
Our resources, like our welfare system, is taxed completely. I don't know how it functions at this point, trying to help all of these people when we're not helping our own.
Well, that's my biggest complaint. If you want to help others, that's fine. I'm all for that. And my heart does go out to the immigrants that are coming in, but take care of ours first.
And especially those who genuinely want to come for a better life.
Right.
Who want to come and go and live the American dream and have all the opportunities that we have here.
But we need to know who they are.
Exactly, and that's the problem. How many people are coming across the border that have criminal records, that are coming here intentionally to do harm to citizens in America?
Just crazy. That's crazy. What would it take for, I guess we'd have to get a new governor to repeal that?
That would be helpful. Or we can get legislators together to work together and recognize that we're failing our citizens.
I don't understand the way that works, but I know it's just not right. It really isn't.
Yep, I agree.
What are your thoughts on the immigration policies that they have now in Washington for them? They're always complaining that they need more money. Okay? And when Trump was in office, he closed that border. He had it down to, it was operating like it should. Biden complains that, he needs Congress to help him to do something. Well, he vacated all Trump's regulations with the stroke of a pen. And so why can he do the same thing?
I would assume that he can, but I don't think he wants to. I mean, and you ask about what do I think about their policy, and I say, what policy?
Right.
It's just wide open. Come on in, come all, and do whatever you want to do.
Are we getting any funding from the federal government for these immigrants in in Chicago, for the cost of housing them?
I'm actually not completely sure what we're getting from them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it's our taxpayers that are paying for the bulk of it.
Yeah, I just don't, like I said, I don't understand how we could allow our veterans to go without, and we could take care of millions, not thousands, but millions of people.
Well, the total cost so far has been upwards. It's been over $2 billion that has been spent up to this point. I mean, $2 billion plus that has been spent up to this point.
For the immigrants coming in?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that could go a long way to helping our veterans.
We gotta make some changes. Earlier we were talking about the VA. The VA is so overwhelmed right now with the veterans that we have that are going to the VA. There's such a backlog in services for them. I mean, we need to get that fixed too for our veterans.
And then what about the quality of care?
Again, their thing is take this pill to go to sleep, this pill to wake up, this pill to help you get through the day. And that's a lot of times their answer. We need to really take care of our veterans first. And I don't want to sound like a broken record and talk about the veterans all during our broadcast.
Well,
but
that's what you do, though.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
who you
that's
help.
near and dear to my heart. We provide the service dogs to the veterans. You've got 22 veterans a day committing suicide. 22. I don't know how we allow that to happen. How we're not doing something to help stop that number. It's just we're not doing enough for our veterans.
I
We're
agree.
really not.
I agree. Of all people that you see on the street that are homeless,
It's one
a veteran,
sector.
yeah,
Right.
a veteran should never be homeless. Shouldn't be alone, left to their own devices. And they shouldn't go without.
And they are. They really are. I get calls all the time where a veteran will call and say, is there who do you know that I could reach out to? I'm living in the street. I had a veteran who was in a house, in an apartment. He was there. His lease was coming up in less than 30 days. So he called the VA to try to get him some additional housing. And they said, well, you have to wait till you're homeless before we can help you. Well, wait a minute. You can't help him transition from where he's at into a place so he doesn't have to be on the street living homeless. So you're telling him that he's got to wait till he's homeless. Now, what kind of rule is that?
Right. Well, that goes back to that legislation that we were talking about. We need common sense legislation. There's so much going on. It is just not common sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not feasible in functioning society. It may look great on paper, but when you try and, use it in the real world, it doesn't work.
No.
And it fails. But I feel like people have like their pet projects, their pet legislation. Oh, well, I passed that bill, or I helped develop that, and they don't want to admit it failed.
Right.
We need to try again. And I would say try again. If it fails, you try again until you have a solution.
Till you get it right.
Yeah.
Till you get it right. Well, we need politicians that are going to put our veterans first for a change, because it's just not happening. Like I said, I hear so many horror stories of our veterans that are just doing out just the basics, just the basic things to get by on. I had a veteran that was living under the bridge on Lower Wacker. I said, well, how long were you there? He says, I've been here for 6 months. I said, well, did you go to the VA and ask for assistance?
Right.
He said, they tell me I'm on a list.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable when we're giving thousands of dollars and cell phones and cars to people who are not citizens.
I heard a story, no, I'm not saying if it's true or not, but I heard a story that in New York City, they had this hotel. The VA was paying, I think it was just $90 a night for them. But they got an eviction notice.
I heard that too.
They got an eviction notice that they had like 72 hours to vacate because the New York was going to pay them $400 a night per room. Do the math. 490? Come on. So they actually displaced our veterans.
That's an atrocity.
It's just
that's
insane.
terrible. That's terrible.
And at its best, it's just crazy, Running to be a candidate for the Senate, that's got to be a daunting job.
There are days when I just think, what am I doing?
Exactly. I want to know why. What made you want to do this?
First and foremost, my family.
Okay.
Because there has to be something left for them. And at the rate we're going, there isn't going to be anything left for them. I serve on my local school board, so I have seen what has happened within our schools. I mean, as a parent beforehand, but now that I'm on the board, I see the things that come through, and I feel like a lot of it comes down from the state. And who are those people making decisions for local communities? And it's like, you're not in these communities, and I feel like that just is the same across the board, regardless of whether it's veterans or your school kids and their families or just your local citizens. It doesn't matter. They're out of touch.
Right.
And they don't know what these different subsectors of our society, they don't understand what they need. And I feel like at times they don't care. It's more about who are my buddies and who do I need to give a contract to so that we can line each other's pockets and keep the money here instead of doing what we were elected to do and help our citizens and be their voice.
What do you think about that Safety Act?
I think that's appalling. It should be repealed.
Jim Glasgow, the Will County State's Attorney, is really a good friend of mine. He was so against it. And we were talking earlier, he's the only one that filed a lawsuit to stop that. It was unsuccessful, but I'll tell you, he gave it all.
That says a lot about his character.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to mess around in Will County. You don't, because you will go to jail if you break the law. You know, these other prosecutors they have, you know, like in the city of Chicago, they don't want to even prosecute anybody. They arrest you one minute, you walk out the back door the next. I mean, it's insanity.
We're letting violent criminals go, and migrant illegal violent criminals go on top of that, and yet you go to a school board and share your perspective on something, and all of a sudden you're a terrorist.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, they were investigating the school as a terrorist group. You know, what's up with that? Tell me a little bit more. I want a little more background on yourself before we get too off track. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as far as me, like I said, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I serve my local school board. I actually work in special education. I work in an autism classroom currently. And part of that, what drove me to that, is I do have a son that is high functioning. So that's near and dear to my heart as far as like our needs for our kids with disabilities.
How does your family feel about you running for state senate?
I think they're really proud.
Well, they should be.
But then at the same time, they're like, whoa, you know, what does this mean for our family?
It's got to take a lot of time away from your family.
It does. I mean, now the common thing is, Mom, where are you going tonight? Who are you talking to now?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, as far as, I mean, that's my family. And then we touched a little bit on like my immigrant family. I feel really blessed to have had that experience.
Oh, yeah.
To have the immigrant experience. And I'm sure ours is probably pretty similar.
Real close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, again, I have nothing against people wanting to come across the border legally. Do it the right way.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
We have to know who's crossing our border.
Exactly.
Because we don't have a clue who you are. And when they cross the border, we don't even know where they go when they do get here. They're just wherever they want, willy-nilly, and it's just, you know, where do I feel like going today?
Right. I feel like we're being set up for failure, for collapse. It just feels almost intentional. Like, okay, well, we're going to put the Safety Act in place. And then we're going to allow all these people to come in, a lot of them with criminal records. We have no idea what they have done or what they were doing in their home country. But you put those things together, and then the need for services from our, you know, welfare, whatever, state aid, insurance, everything, at every juncture, it's straining our state.
Our resources,
our economy, it's draining our resources, all of it. It all works together, and none of it is helpful. So
we couldn't stop that sanctuary status. The only one who could really do that is the governor. Am I correct in that?
I mean, for right now, yeah.
I don't.
I mean, unless our legislators come together, but we have such a divided legislature, I don't know if it's going to happen right now. I mean, unless it gets bad enough where people go, oh, so I helped pass these bills into law, but now it's affecting me and my family.
Right.
So maybe we should do something about it.
We need to get more legislators like yourself into Springfield to do the right thing.
That's what it's all about.
You know,
doing the right thing.
It is doing what's right for the public.
Right.
And not the special interest groups.
Exactly.
And that's a really sore spot because, you know, if you read the bills that they passed, there's always a lot of pork in there for this group, that group. This one gets $1 million, and you know, it's just crazy how they keep doing this and stuff. You know, what about how are you going to go about? What's your main objective in your election process?
Main objective? Well, getting elected, of course.
Yeah. That's number one.
That's number one. But just helping people know that there's somebody who's willing to be a voice.
Right.
And you've got to help me get there. I mean, that's objective number one, obviously, is to get in there so I can actually do something.
Right.
I'm that type of person, you know, ask my husband, my family, when there's something going on, I'll be like, I'm going to handle this.
Well,
We got to take care of this. This is a problem.
When you get elected, and I say when you get elected, I'm going to be all over you to help our veterans.
Absolutely.
You know that's happening, so
absolutely.
Be prepared.
I have experienced it.
Right.
I've experienced. I was sharing with you that little story about going to the VA, and here, legit, it was penicillin, and my husband ended up having MRSA in his leg.
Oh.
I'm like, penicillin is not going to help MRSA. They didn't even see him. They put him in a room and said, okay, we'll be with you in a minute. I think somebody came and just looked at it real quick, and he's like, oh, it's folliculitis. Like a follicle is infected. It was MRSA. They gave him penicillin.
It's crazy.
So, yeah.
Jennifer, they just gave me that awful 2-minute warning. I want to thank you so much, and I want to wish you the best of luck, because we need more officials in positions like the Senate to make the changes that we need to get done. Without people like yourself pushing for the right thing, it's never going to happen. Right. We need to get you elected.
Yeah, thank you.
God bless you for all you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And your sacrifices for running for, it's a big chore.
Yeah.
It really is. You got to have your hands full.
Yeah, the big areas of focus are going to be safety for our citizens, get education, get academics back into education, and making sure our borders are secure and that our citizens are taken care of.
Well, thank you for being my guest tonight. I
Absolutely.
wish you the best of luck, and I know you're going to do well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.